This is Education Without Borders by Wanjiku the engineer. We want to think about some of literal headaches, nagging issues here and there. There are many. As human beings, we cannot miss a headache due to dysfunctionality of our system, either at home or at our workplaces. We want to think about how to deal with the headache of a dysfunctioning septic tank. You could have a septic tank. A traditional septic tank relies on soakage on the ground, the earth itself. When you have a traditional septic tank, you rely on any water that is discharged or any overflow going into a soak pit. You may find that your soak pit is completely waterlogged. You may not have a big space. And this becomes a nagging issue because you have to be exhausting your septic tank every now and then, more often than you expect. And we agree, quite nagging. So we want to see how can we transform this soakage area from what you see on my left to what you see on my right. How can we deal with that headache? You may find that if you try to check the soakage area next to your septic tank, it has completely dysfunctioned. It's waterlogged. So it would look something like that. What do you do? Yet you don't want to evacuate the occupant. This could be a commercial property that is bringing income. How do you handle that? You need to think through, how do you decommission that soakage area? We want to deal with the soakage area. And we agree, all of us agree, that the septic tank has completely failed that particular solution to wastewater disposal. We need to decommission it, and we cannot continue with the exhausting. It's not a sustainable solution. So what do you do? So today, there are many technologies, there are many players now in the sanitation space. You can consult one of them. All of them have one common denominator in that the discharge, the water overflow, can be reused. You know, the problem with the traditional septic tank is that you cannot be able to handle the overflow, the water that is discharged into the soak pit. And that's why you need a lot of ground, a lot of earth to be able to clean that overflow and have it seep into the ground, because God gave us the ground as what I would refer to as nature's kidney. It's able to clean the waste water through seepage, through microorganisms, and so on. But what do you do, especially if you are in an urban area where you have restricted ground, earth? You have to work within what you have. So that's when the many sanitation players help us they have solutions. You consult one of them. In this particular case, the client consulted one of them, and this need to completely overhaul the system. Completely overhaul the system, come up with a new solution, come up with a system that is able to contain the water, treat it, and then discharge it. But the discharge in this case will not be within this waterlogged ground. You have to remove the ground, the earth, and replace it with a greener space. And let's see how the process goes. So this particular solution, we have a system that is put in the ground. It's a fiberglass system. It's put in the ground. It has chambers. It can treat the effluent and then be able to discharge clean water into a storage tank, which can further be processed and discharged safely. And you need to also consult your environmental authorities to make sure whatever is discharged, even from that, is certified as being having gone through the process and to be safely discharged. So having done this, then the next stage is to know where do you discharge. So you need storage. You may not have space overground or even underground, but depending on your space, you can choose either underground. So this is the system which has already been put underground to replace the existing septic tank. You can see it's properly sealed off. It's accessible. It is slightly below the ground because it's an existing system. It's not a new building. If it was a new building, then it would have been designed to come a little higher. The ground had been built up, so you have to remain where the inlet pipes are. You cannot um, make it higher because it has to be lower than the inlet pipes. But you can see it's a cleaner system. It's accessible. You can be able to access it. If you cover that top, you'll be able to access it even slightly below ground. And you can see originally where there was the soakage area, we are trying to make the space green. You bring in new soil, red soil, which is able to support a greener space. So that's the process. You can see from where we are slowly getting to a greener space. Then you plant grass. You can see the same space now. The original septic tank, there is a system, the new system, which is able to treat. We call it now the water treatment system, and the water is being discharged. The original soakage area now has been converted to an underground storage tank where the water which overflows is able to be treated further. And in the adjacent, you can see now we've planted grass so that the place will be green and open to the environment so that it will be able to serve another purpose. As you will see, this is alternatives. You can have underground storage, water storage, because remember, the reason why we had waterlogging is because there's too much water normally discharged into the soak pits. So we have now transferred or translated the soggy and murky soakage area into storage tanks, and these have been located in an adjacent area. Is in fact a car park, as you can see, and you're able to carefully do those storage tanks. We have 4 underground storage tanks where the water can be treated and safely discharged onto a drainage. And if you don't have space, you can also have above ground storage tank, which can also have other tanks for treatments before you finally discharge to the environment. So depending on the space you have an option of either underground or overground. And that water can be processed further. Remember, this is the recycling process. It can be recycled to even make even a wider place greener. It becomes more useful. And you leave the location of your septic tank, the original septic tank, neat, clean, and ready to be greened. And you can see now the original fieldy area has been converted to a beautiful place, a beautiful landscape, as you can see in the foreground there. That was the original septic tank. This green area here was the original soakage area. All the materials have been removed, cut away and replaced with red soil, and the grass is doing very well. You can see where my cursor is was originally where the soak pit that needed to be decommissioned. We now have some water, clean water, which is used to make the place green and is interconnected. On the foreground here, this was the parking where we have even additional underground storage tanks, underground storage tanks for further treatment. What you see in green is where the original septic tank was, a place you could never access, that was filthy, that was overgrown, murky, waterlogged. You now can even put an umbrella and convert it into a leisure place where you can have your lunch, where your clients can come out, where the children can come and play and sit there and have their packed lunch, enjoying the environment. And therefore, we have transformed from a murky, filthy, unusable septic tank to a leisure place. If this is the content you'd like to see, how you can convert the usable, murky, filthy place to a beautiful leisure area, green space, follow my channel, share, subscribe, and keep watching to see more ideas on how to convert areas that are disusable to a greener space.